sorts of stuff. Table over here. All in order? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Or if you want the record to show it, we have a quorum on the board present. Did everyone get a chance to review last month's minutes? The adjustments? Move to make a motion to approve. Second. All those in favor? Opposed? Supervisor monthly statement. Just kind of go through it here real quick. Receipts on the fund, or the general fund, was $51,000. Expenditures of $401. Highway receipts of $112. Expenditures of $100. And then the library fund receipts of $4,000. Expenditures of $22,000. That's what we had for February. Then I think I'll just save everything else for the rest of it. And then we'll open up the public comment on any agenda items. Anyone have anything else?
I didn't hear one yet.
We are. Yeah, I pushed down the meeting. All right, if we don't have any comments on the agenda items, John, Recktenwald, I'll turn it over to you. I know you wanted to talk to the board, so.
Yes. I'm here representing the Lima Food Pantry. I'm not chairman of it. Kim Strong is actually chairman of it, but I was kind of selected to do this. And we have some problems and some concerns because we have been told by the past administration, I guess is a good way of saying that certain things were going to happen. And we are just kind of wondering if they're going to happen and when they're going to happen, if they are. And we have some concerns because we want to improve the food pantry and we want to try to expand it to some degree. And just to give you a little background, it's been in existence for a long time. Beth Gillette was the one who first established it way, way back. The only requirement really is they have to show proof that you are a Lima resident. You only can come once every 30 days to the giveaway, I should say. At Christmas and Thanksgiving, we have a kind of a gift package that we give each person, which includes gift cards and so on and so forth like that. And everything is voluntary. And we're totally dependent on contributions of either items or financial contributions, which we always welcome. And we would encourage any of you that if there's any organizations that function within the town, that at least keep the Lima Food Pantry in your mind, and so on. So, I talked to Mr. Case again earlier, and also Steve, that maybe the best way to do this is to take a field trip down to the food pantry. And I don't know, have all of you been there?
Yes.
Steve? Yeah. And I can kind of show you the concerns very quickly. This won't take very long at all, and so on. And see if we could get some information, I guess you'd say, so that we know how to proceed. You know, if things aren't going to happen the way we think they're going to happen, then we're looking for alternative ways to correct some of our problems.
I know, John, you spoke to one of your biggest concerns is protect the safety of the items down there.
Right. The extra items.
Extra items.
Yeah, we can actually secure the food pantry itself, but depending upon the time of year, over the holidays and so on, we get a ton of contributions and so on, and we can't fit them all in a small space. If you are willing to go down and look at it, and you'll see that. So we have to store everything on the outside, and we basically have no way of securing it. And many times, unfortunately, we've gone down there. The food pantry is open on Thursday evenings and Saturday mornings. And unfortunately, we've gone down there and things have been disturbed. We found people down there in the areas where they're not really supposed to be. And when you get down there, I think you'll see why.
Well, John, as items come in, everything's invoiced or?
Yeah, we stock them. You know, we continually continue to stock all the shelves and so on items. We have frozen goods, we have refrigerated goods, and we have a lot of canned goods. And depending on the season, we get a lot of produce in, and so on. So,
But you guys know what you got, what you don't have.
yeah. We're very close to knowing what should and shouldn't be there. So, are you all willing to take a trip?
Yep.
It's like 3-second walk.
I even left the lights on.
Okay.
Is that,
This is my wife Judy too, and she can go to the food pantry also.
Mark in the minutes, we're having a secret meeting at 9 o'clock. I can't do it.
Oh, I just saw her. Yeah.
all over the back.
Marty looks
Yeah, that's what he said. You're very cool, yeah.
Yeah.
We got replicated things like that. Once for a fishing trip, once for a fishing trip, $5 trip out on Lake Ontario. This is for cash. Here's a mechanical roll. $5. So, what? One.
And I'm sure it was like, 10 days, like, but at one point, Four times in. And then which is 4 times in. Have that machine. She's got
I work at a food pantry. The food comes in and starts shelf. There's something here.
that's my
Right.
But 365 days a
Yeah, the big time to get to this.
Since I can move in, speak today. I think it got big since you guys moved in. I mean, that one's not
A little bit. 00101. Yeah, right.
That is one though.
You don't have to put cameras down there.
No, those are real cases.
Yeah. You put that up there. They ask if you need a job. If you don't have a job, you get some. If you got a job, you don't make any money. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's why you put that there. It's all
Not for a job, because you don't get any money there either.
right. So how's Nancy doing? You all right? Good.
Not over busy weekend.
Yeah, I bet.
He still gets around. What he does.
Keep it moving as long as you can.
Well, goes to the
I don't look at much.
that's about it.
Well, he's lucky to have a nice sleep and stay.
We used to live out Cincinnati for a number of years, and then he moved south to Waters.
Yeah. Where else are you gonna go? Set it up, right?
Listen to the like, I know. Why do you go for it? She like to go, you know, she's gonna wait for you.
It's always good to know what's going on.
Yeah. I like to keep, see what's going on.
Someone was telling me that place in New Hampshire, that nobody ever went to the meeting. And they decided to close something like the school. And they said, just to close it because nobody was going to vote against it. We need to close it. You're not going to let that happen in my country. It goes to a lot of people. Just to make sure.
I remember sitting on well, three people here.
It's good, yeah.
It's on the Republican committee for going for Lima. I've done that for 30 years. You do petitions, all that stuff that you have to do.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think I'd run into anybody here, so I didn't bring them.
Mike has some petitions that have to sign. This is for this county. Washington.
How many years? What do you do every couple of years?
Every 2 years.
What is it every 2 or 4?
Whenever there's an election.
Oh, okay.
Especially for the times.
You know, the village is coming up, aren't the elections?
Yeah.
In March, right? I don't even know who's running for the village. I know it's Skip Tuner's still running. See, I don't think he has to run, right?
No, it's,
And Gothard, then?
no.
No, so he's, they're all right.
So it's-
How about Stuart Smith then?
Smith and Petraeus.
Okay.
And, what's his name? Eric.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'd have to see him, know who they are. The Trace, I don't really know. I probably know him if I see him. And then here, I think I know who she is. She has dark black hair?
Yeah.
Okay, I know who she is.
So the Democrats running against her, well, against the other Republicans, Kevin, Kevin Kessler,
Oh, okay.
and Bobby Paul.
Oh, okay, I know her. Well, you never know.
Never know.
Sorry inside and 30 outside.
Yeah, I find myself.
They went there and said, we're not worried about that, we're worried about your neighbors. Took an hour and a half to see that. I told the people who white stabbed me in the neck with a knife.
One way. Guess she didn't good. It's a
Yeah,
right thing.
After 56 years of buying the check on the because it's cemetery.
Oh my God.
Long, oh, 61 years. You won't read it.
You know, you gotta work at it.
Come here, Lori. They won't leave. She got mad. This was Edgar Gary's this book. Go pick her up at
You guys didn't go home yet?
Yes, 4 minutes per person.
All right, we're gonna get on that.
Oh my God, you figured it out.
Go for it.
You got it.
And that's
I was
no time in between.
Yeah. And I think that's something that too.
Yeah.
They're usually in the telephone.
John, I don't want to cut you off if you had more.
No, that's fine, we just wanted you
It's just
to
food for thought.
see our problems
What the
and.
future is, so we could, that would be very helpful.
That's all we're looking for.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. We appreciate you allowing us to use the space, first of all. Thank you.
As far as our reports from our Christmas, we got clerk's report. I know Charlie said how it is, did everybody get it for this month? I know we had some, okay. I can circle back with them. I gotta make sure that everyone got it.
Yeah, because I gave him an email address, and I think he sent it.
He sent me an email, but it wasn't his.
Okay, so you got an email.
I got an email from him.
Okay, so he knows that it's working, but you didn't know it was okay.
Well, you got it. I think you got a printed copy right there.
Hang on, man.
And a hard copy, so, all right. Sean, you wanna bring us up to date on the highway department?
Sure, so I'll start with, agreement to spend town highway funds for you guys all the time. I'm planning on doing work on, Thorn Road from 5 and 20 to Chase Road, and then, Bridge Street just Bromley Road, the cul-de-sac. And then a section of Woodruff that we gotta do a second coat, chip seal, and then, Bridge Street from Clay to 15A. And then in there I have, other various roads that we're gonna do other things on. I'm still waiting on a quote to get back from, Midland and Sioux Cove for oil and stoning a section of Dalton. And then from there, like other various projects, like the remainder of that money will be used on just hot mix asphalt to wedge things, preparing roads for next season. And that is right here. There's a pen attached to that. Any of the quotes and stuff that I have on the roads are in the folder if you guys want to take a look at it.
Okay.
Other than that, we got more salt getting delivered tomorrow. Kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel on snow season, hopefully, knock on wood.
Just enough, I got all the salt. June.
Yeah.
How much is that gonna be delivered approximately?
Over the next few days, it's gonna be about 400 tons.
400.
Yeah. We got about 100 right now in stockpile.
And I think we've talked approximately 35 ton to a run.
Good 25 to 35.
So-
It all depends on.
So 10 to 15 runs left in it, let's hope that's.
Yeah, let's hope that's good.
Gets us into April.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah.
Because I know salt was a short commodity this winter again.
Yeah, it was again. But thankfully we had the salt storage to get us through that.
Great.
I know you wanted to bring up the boom mower that you were looking at.
We got that later, yeah.
Okay.
Look at, so I've got something to pass out to everyone.
Okay. Other than that, chugging along. Gonna start scheduling with Town of Caledonia, get them back over here with their bucket truck again. I got some sections of roads that we won't be able to reach with our new man basket that we
For
built.
trimming trees over the road.
Yeah, for trimming trees over the road. Yeah, some of the board members here, like Ron and Steve, have been in, I've been in talks with them. We had an incident with the plow truck, over on Pond Road, just freezing and thawing. Part of Pond Road, the plow actually grabbed a hold of the road, and it actually turned the whole truck,
Spun sideways.
sprung sideways right off of the road. Had some plow damage come about it. We actually just got the plow back from Hawk Frame and Axle out in Fairport. And then we took the plow and then the frame and dropped it off at, gosh, I can't remember their name. Ron, do you remember their name? The Mennonites over in
It's Zimmerman.
Zimmerman. Yeah. Dropped it off over at Zimmerman's. They're gonna cut part of the frame and straighten the rest of it back out. Hope to have that back probably by the end of next week. Yeah. Thankfully, we still had the old plow from the old number 8 that we're selling in spring. Thankfully, we had that plow attached straight up to the old one, or to the new one. Yeah.
Nobody got hurt.
Nobody got hurt. Just shaking up a little
I
bit
bet.
for a while there. Road was fixed. It was patched up. I think that was like a Friday or something that had happened on Thursday or Friday. We patched it up, and then Monday morning we came back and dug it out and put in new stone and recompacted and everything like that.
Is that gonna need more attention, or is that pretty good for now?
It's pretty good for now. We get light traffic on that dirt on Back Pond Road, but we ended up going through and, I had the did a stakeout and everything like that. In the section of the road that it happened would be, I think it's Livingston County Water. It's right where their water goes.
Right across there?
Well, directly down the road. And so I was in contact with them. We were able to get it dug out enough where we were able to put in, basically what you call like a driveway mat, like a fiber mat underneath the road. Try and keep water out and everything like that from coming up under. And then we put in new, like, 6-8 inches of stone on that road. But it turned out pretty well.
Okay.
I think for me, it's about it. The intersection of Poplar Hill. While we were out filling potholes today, I actually ran into the state while they were out filling in potholes on 5 and 20. We're going to work with the state tomorrow and Thursday on that intersection of Poplar Hill and 5 and 20. I'd asked them what their plan was for that section that has been combed off for about a month now. And they were just going to bring in a broom and clean out all the potholes and refill in all the potholes. And I was like, well, how about I, call up Ben from the village, ask if we can borrow their skid steer and their grinder, and we're going to work with them. We're going to mill out the section, the terrible strip that we all run over and get jostled around inside of our cars. We're going to mill that out tomorrow, and then Thursday it'll be repaved the top mix. So, yeah. Yeah, right there. That got torn up by a plow because it's been, those potholes emerge every every winter. Yeah, I was talking to him, I was like, how about instead of just like going over the top of them with pavement, how about we try and do it right and actually mill it out and, you know, put it in a substantial
I
amount
do
of
it
asphalt.
2-3 times. So it's not gonna be actual hot patch instead of a cold patch?
Yes, yeah.
They've started produce product.
No, so the state has their own like tow behind heater.
Oh, okay, I've seen it. Okay.
Yeah, and
All right, that's what you're gonna use.
yeah, they'll pull that in, and so we can't, you know, take out the whole intersection,
No.
unfortunately, but yeah.
It'll do better than what it is, that's for sure.
For sure. And I'm just glad that the state took it over, well, claimed that it was actually theirs because it is theirs. I know there's always a,
Right.
this is county road,
you're
this is
the
state
grader,
road,
right.
this isn't ours, this isn't ours, like, point fingers back and forth to one another. So that'll be taken care of this week.
And the only other thing on the highway, we just won't mention it now, right? That you and I met with Nick, our attorney, and the teachers that are first meeting of the year. So we gave them kind of a counter to the last proposal that the town had received, and they're mulling it over. Right? I think it's kind of where it is. So now it's in their hands to come back to us with.
A yes or a yes.
Yeah, it's probably more going to be like, oh, okay, you change this, we can, you know, I don't think it's quite a yes or a yes, but I thought it went well.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good conversation, so,
I think the union rep, I think he's working.
yeah, so it's in process.
Was it Nick?
Nick Dorn.
Yeah, Nick Dorn. He's pretty
You
good.
worked with him before?
Yeah.
Seems like he's willing to compromise on it.
Yes, he's been with us up there, many of them can, but he's generally reasonable.
Well, the one thing about that is, once it's written, it can only be so slippery.
Well, they leave gray area in those for a reason.
It's the process I was talking about. Yeah, but no, he's pretty good to work with compared to many others.
If it's all black and white, then it would be easy. You gotta have some gray to argue about.
Right.
But, yeah, so we did do that. As far as our boards and committees, I don't know if you want to leave out front.
Yeah, so, I wasn't around, I gave the library report the last meeting, but I wasn't able to make this one. I don't think the whole lot has changed. I mean, we're taking over the town is taking over the charging stations at the library. Library wanting me to do those.
I did get access to that, just so.
Did you?
I do have it now, yeah, last week.
How, is that been utilized, though?
No.
Really?
Probably. 2 or 3 times.
Actually, I think John, the video that I did, it was John Waters.
John did a video, watched the
It's a
whole.
really nice station.
Was the only,
There's level 2 charging
yeah,
station.
I actually talked to Leslie today about that.
Yeah, it's been used, I think, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
You know,
I think John was the only one that she knew had used it.
Well, I know the library was kind of hoping that maybe, well, someone was charging their car, might come in and utilize the library, get a cup of coffee and, you know, utilize the library, but,
Then again, it's still winter, so maybe we'll have better luck when it's like
People get moving.
crossroads.
people get moving around. Let's hope.
they are, it is a pretty intuitive program. I mean, you can see how many times, which ones are idle, which ones are online, which ones are being used. So there's a lot of stuff in the background that you can certainly see. Bill, you have a
I
question?
just got a question. Is this any kind of advertisement or directions to get to that? I mean, can you have an app on your phone to find the charging
You
stations?
can have an app, if you've got an electric car, you'll have an app.
Okay, how about like signage or something on the main road?
And we gotta work with the village to put a sign.
Because it's kind of off the beaten path.
Right.
Yeah.
It is.
All right.
Yeah, so it's definitely, we gotta raise the awareness of it too, right? That's,
I didn't know it was there until I drove in the library the other day.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been that's kind of a process of how do we do that, what's the best way to do it. You know, the people look for the sign, like most electric car people that I've talked to all use an app, you know, but then there's also, I mean, this is all new to me, right? There's also 7 different apps, right? And some of them are community ones that have all the ones on, some are, you know, like our system is run by a company called Evo, so some of those are very specific to those chargers that they run, and somebody could be running a different model, and there's like community ones that tell you where they are, but the information may not be correct. And then you gotta have the right company's app to pay it, and that you can see where it's.
And then what Tesla's got, they've got their own charge.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a business there to streamline all that and make it one place. Right? I'm not looking to do that, but like, there's a business there to make that simple. But yeah. I mean, unless I'm wrong, that's how it was explained to me, is there's multiple different apps, depending on who owns the charger and who's controlling it. And then you have to have theirs to pay, or you gotta have theirs to pay. The ones that we have, we actually have an option we can get, like RFID tags, so if you have an electric car, you don't need the app, you can just scan your keychain. But they would give us some, but then there's a cost to those too, right, like anything, so, it's been a learning curve for sure. But the biggest thing is letting people know that they're there.
Yeah, and then we get people with rental cars that don't know have the app because they're running.
It's good idea.
And I think, so we have a level 1, 2 level 2s, and a level 3 charger there, actually, so, and I think we have the only level 3 charger from what I've been told in our immediate area. So you can charge pretty quick relative to other spots, right? It's all depends on, it's not as fast as putting gas in your tank, I don't think ever will be, but yeah, I mean, the idea would be to get people to come and use them, and then, you know, go out and get a coffee, or whatever, like in the library. But, yeah, it's a process, right? So, go ahead.
Yeah, so as far as the highway department, I talked to a guy by the name of Phil Blum at New York State DOT. Did you ever talk to him, Mark? No. And he informed me what needed to be done, speaking of the intersections of Bragg Street, 5 and 20, and Dorn Road, maybe doing something there, that I needed to have a written request and to send it to the attention of Matt Gorovec. And so I wrote something up, and then I emailed it to Jen, so she could put it on along this letterhead. And I put in there that we know that a few years back some signage was done, and there's a caution light hanging there to kind of slow people down and make them aware of the intersection. And I said, whatever they've done, it really has gone unnoticed, because we've had several bad accidents up there, that we need to do something more aggressive there. And I told them, that it affects school buses and the town plow trucks and garbage trucks and agriculture equipment, and as well, people just trying to cross the intersection to get to point A to point B. And I put in my name, of course, and my phone number, and I prefaced that I wanted to be contacted when they come out to do that survey of the intersection. Hopefully we get somewhere, and I was talking to Sean. I'd like to have Sean there that day. I'd like to maybe get a hold of the head of the bus garage, have them up there, and whoever else wants to come. And I guess I would, hopefully it would work to where I would know about it in advance. I could talk about it during the meeting here. And if many people are wanting to show up, maybe it would give a little more validity as to what we're trying to do up there. And then as far as the parks, I've been in touch, called a lot of different people, and finally I got to the Public Works here in Rochester. I talked to a guy by the name of Phil Bignair, and about trying to, seeing as how we're gonna go about this, hopefully it's gonna be 100% publicly funded, or privately funded, and because of that, he thought we could possibly get around paying prevailing wage, but he had to run it up the flagpole to the supervisor, and said it's 100% privately funded. The ground was privately donated. It is owned by both the village and the town, and he thinks that we've got a pretty good shot at getting around prevailing wage. So, but I didn't hear back. He's going to get back to me today, and apparently he didn't hear back from the supervisor. So, I think
At some point, we would have to submit that to get a determination from.
You probably, yeah, you might get a determination. I did some research when this came up a month ago, and there's a lot of cases out there and a lot of opinions that say the exact opposite. I think you really, and the risk is high. So if you proceed without paying prevailing wage, and it becomes an issue, not only do you have to end up paying prevailing wage, which is going to wreck your budget, right? So you've got to anticipate either hold that money back, but there are a good deal of penalties associated with it. I found cases that were pretty close to on point, very similar situations that seem to pretty clearly indicate that it would be considered a public works project and require prevailing wage. I don't want to draw that conclusion, but I would not listen to anybody who isn't, from another municipal entity that doesn't have any authority over those things.
Right.
If the Department of Labor gives you an opinion, maybe, but still, what happens is if a union decides to take issue with it, because that's usually where these things come up, and it happened in Livonia. They had people that were willing to work on their town hall project that were residents who donated time. They were craftsmen. They wanted
kind work.
They had a lot of pride in their community. They wanted to make it as nice a job as they could possibly make it. And a union rep drove by and reported it, and it just was this domino effect where people had to end up paying their employees prevailing rate, even though the employees didn't want them. They didn't want the money. I mean, it was a bad scene that ended up costing a lot of extra money. So that's where you're going to get the rub.
Right, and my thought was, this is public works. I would see what the next step was to go.
Sure.
But whoever I talk to, I'm going to say, if you're that sure, I want you to sign something, send it to me.
See, but they have to be beholden to you, right? When I give you a piece of legal advice, you own my advice.
Right.
Right? If I'm wrong, there's a consequence to it. You need to have the same kind of relationship with whoever gives you that advice or guidance, right? Because they can put something in writing and say, we're wrong.
Right.
And it doesn't really lead you in a good spot. But I mean, whatever you get, I'm happy to look at it again.
Okay.
But I didn't spend hours and hours on it. But what I could find, in a reasonable amount of time,
Pretty hard to do.
Yeah, I did talk to, and again, to your point, it doesn't mean anything until you run by enough of these people that should know, maybe the Department of Labor, where you are in the clear. But I did talk to a guy from Morton Buildings. Obviously, he's selling buildings, so he's going to tell you what you want here. But they have done some municipality work that they haven't had any trouble with prevailing wage. And I did get a list of costs, and most of them run in the mid-30s for prevailing wage, electricians and all that, construction workers. But again, whoever, you got to run through enough of those municipality entities that you get something on paper, and I would think at some point, someone's got to have enough clout that you would be good to go if they said it was right. Would be the Department of Labor?
Yeah, the Department of Labor would be your safest bet. And communities do this. Don't get me wrong. There are communities that don't necessarily do things the proper legal way, and they don't have a problem.
Right.
Right, I mean, there might be 20 Morton buildings that went up that weren't a problem, it's just if yours becomes a problem. Right, you know, that's,
Spoke to us, the Association of Towns, their legal counsel, and they said that from what they could read, is one of the, you had to be under $5 million, which we're gonna have $5 million. And so she said that she couldn't find any reason why you could not build, given those specifications, and then she turned me over to the public works. And so once I get it clear from them, I want to get in touch with the Department of Labor then and see what I can do.
Yeah, they're the one, the Department of Labor usually makes the rate determination, sets the rates.
They say there's a three-pronged thing that if you get those three things in your favor, you're free and clear on the prevailing wage.
the court cases have come up with a 3-prong test, yes.
So we'll see.
Doesn't hurt to look.
Wouldn't hurt to ask.
Ron, what project is it that there would be a prevailing wage? Or maybe not?
Community center.
Oh, community center.
Yeah.
Here's my backtrack.
Go for it.
I don't know if I specified this or not. This piece of paper that I handed around, I didn't need your guys' signatures on these.
Yeah, no, I know, but it said you wanted duplicate, so I thought maybe we had to.
No, I'll just have you sign this one.
Oh, when I seen duplicate, I thought, well, gee, we gotta.
Then we could add a motion.
Oh, I'll make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No.
No.
Sorry about that.
Well, when you put down there at the bottom, you said you wanted duplicate, so I thought, well, we gotta get something to make that happen.
Adam, you want to report?
So, courthouse, about a week and a half ago, Carol reached out to me that there was staining on her ceiling tiles off her office, the entryway. So I came out, took a look. There was quite a little ice damming on the roof up there, so I climbed up and busted up. There's probably 2 inches of ice up there, pretty much across that whole swath above this side, it's way over here. Went in, double-checked the tiles, they were actively wet, so I told her to keep an eye on it as, you know, the melting continued. Seems like it's remedying itself for now. Charlie fully picked up some new tiles, but we're going to wait to replace those until we have somebody come out and take a look at the roof and see what it might cost, or if there's a need for a new roof. But regardless, I think at the very least before next winter, we should think about putting some melting strips up there to try to prevent any ice damming. But hopefully we're in the clear this year as far as any real cold weather. Yep.
Is there any way, you say your ceiling tiles, you could have someone come in, I know Ward's and just spray the underside of the roof?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly could. I think Charlie was going to try to see if Steve Moore could come in and take a look, and just see how the roof's looking. So I would assume he would look.
I mean, obviously, we're losing heat there, so they.
Correct, right.
Well, actually, I got to follow up with Siemens too. They were supposed to insulate the roof, right? So if we're losing heat, that would make me think you missed a spot.
Well, so they kind of skipped out on the.
Are we covered if Adam happens to take a nosedive off the roof? I mean, is he covered by the bill, by the...
I'm not the type to sue, so you're good.
Pardon?
I'm not the type to sue, so I'll just, if I fall off the roof and I break something, I'll live with it.
No, but I
My
mean-
consequence.
I'm using him as an example, okay?
Yeah.
He's covered under the town's workman's comp.
Okay, good.
But we're still going to bury him, just so.
Fancy, just pipe box. Good news is we got approval this last week for the security grant that we applied for. $26,000 was the total that we had originally applied for. and we were granted $21,915 and some change. So we got 180 days to spend that. So John and I have been in communication. I chatted with Carol and Ron the other day, and hopefully we can try to get some bids out and get that job started. Get things shored up over there safety-wise. Regarding
And Adam, is that going to be like a metal detector?
metal detector, a new window for 2 new windows, exterior window and interior window for Carol's office space there, a new entry door with, I think, ballistic glass, and then there's some other odds and ends thrown into the grant.
Clipboards, I remember that.
Clipboards.
Clipboards were approved.
High-end clipboards. Ag committee, I worked with them. We've set up a meeting for tomorrow night. We're going to have the representative from the county here, along with their consultant coming in out of Ohio. I mentioned at the last meeting, the county is working to update the county's level of ag planning, and so Lima being that we're one of few towns with an actual ag board, they would like to get our feedback and chat with us. So we're going to meet tomorrow night.
Are you discussing solar?
I'm going to bring it up for sure.
So I know
6:30.
I talked to West Bloomfield and Jeff Ball and Jimmy Sheafin wanted to maybe come over.
Yep.
And just on a side note, I was talking went to San Antonio to the Commodity Classic, and there's a lot of big farms down there. And there's a big vegetable farm, and they took a big chunk of the acreage and put solar panels on it 10 years ago. 5 years in, they tested the soil underneath it, and the heavy metals were such that they would never be able to grow any crops on that ground ever again.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely planning on bringing it up tomorrow. They threw out the topic, for the ag board to be thinking about, basically, what are some hurdles or obstacles that as farmers you guys see coming 5-10 years down the road? And to me, solar is one of those dilemmas that we're going to have to address sooner or later. So definitely going to be chatting about that. And then Be Well. We got we talked about the weed games here that happened this past weekend. So we chatted about that. It looked like, from what I saw on Facebook, they had a pretty good turnout. The Lima Bean 5K, they're working on finalizing some things for that. That's not up until August, though. And the Murph Challenge. Anyone who doesn't know that, Lieutenant Mike Murphy was Navy SEAL. He died in that operation that the Lone Survivor was based on. And as part of his follow-up, his family created the Mike Murphy Foundation, and so they raise money every year through what they call the Murph Challenge, which is a 1-mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and then you finish up with another mile run, all in a 20-pound vest. Mike Murphy did that every day as like his workout before practice, which is pretty impressive. So we were looking into bringing that to Lima, being a host venue.
Is this like a by committee thing?
But so I got some more details that I'll share with them tomorrow as well. But to be a host, it costs $250, and they haven't released the actual legal aspect of this year's Murph Challenge. It's coming later in the month. But as of last year, it was written in there that any proceeds that you raise have to go then back to Mike Murphy's foundation. So, that was BUL's concern, was if we, because money's tight everywhere, so if we, chalk up $250, can we charge people an entry fee and try to make our money back? And as of right now, it does not seem like that's the case. So
Make sure you have extra ambulances.
Yep, I've got ambulances, and then double check on insurance and things like that. But we'll have to vote on that tomorrow, whether or not that's something that we want to do as the fee wall committee. But if you don't want to spend that $250, that might just be something to put on the back. That's it.
Steve?
Quite a little. Got a bit here. Start off, I was gone for 2 weeks, apologize, I've got still quite a bit here, but Lima Ambulance for the month of February, 45 calls, 94 to date. Meg broke it down really nice here with out-of-town standbys and everything. They had 4 in Davon, for example, 1 to Canandaigua, Dansville, East Davon, 3 to Geneseo, and then the rest were obviously Town and Village, and 4 to Livonia. So our ambulance is still covering for quite a wide area here. One new application, 1 new driver, 1 new EMT application, 1 new driver application. Officers provided 178 hours of time, administrative and support time. Charge 2881 has a charging issue. 2881 also needs new tires and front shocks they're looking into get replaced, and a new brush guard. They are still looking into the AEDs that they had told us they're going to replace. I believe that was there was at least 4 of them, to knowledge. Ongoing training, Livingston County, they had an EMS captain's meeting, reviewing regulations and resources available for both extreme and hot weather emergencies. The building up there was used for 7 different events this past month up there, just so everybody knows. And right now, I'm working with Meg to help her. They have a new building coming that has been donated by Superior Walls, and I'm working with her with the foundation underneath that to see if we can get some in-kind work done for little or no money for the base of that. It's going to be the loan closet for all the extra equipment they have, walkers, wheelchairs, crutches. And I know she has said over time it has taken up a lot of space up there inside the building, and it's great that we've got a business within the community stepping forward, helping that. And I know they're working with Lowe's to get new windows for it. Anything else you might have on that? On the ambulance part? All right. Fire department, I was away in Florida. I know our new pumper is in service that we have purchased. Our old pumper is going to be up for bid and for sale. Is there anything else at the monthly meeting?
235 is out for the frame repair right now, so that's out of service.
Our old pumper, that it was our frontline pumper up before our first new pumper, had some frame issues, and that is out now.
Yep, should be out this week and next week, and then hopefully back.
Okay. Anything else, Mike? Anything you pick up?
Raffle's going to pick off, hopefully April.
About 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Our new raffle will be out in 4 weeks, so look for that. Signs will be going up. And if you run into a member of the fire department, ask to get a ticket early, because I believe we're going to do the same thing this year, and it worked very well. We're going to have early bird.
We have 3 early bird drawings again.
So 4th of July, and what before that?
Crossroads, Memorial Day, and 4th of July.
Great. So get your tickets, and if you're in, you could win any or all 3 of those early birds.
Who won the big money last time?
It was
Bob.
Jody's husband. Yeah,
Bob.
yeah. My wife won 2nd place.
Really?
Yeah. Big difference, money, let me tell
I
you.
can't rest
I guess that's what happens when you buy over 30 tickets yourself. So, anyways, so look for that. That's Lima and Fire. Getting to the park. So I talked to Mr. Reif today. Now with the weather breaking, should be somewhere between now and the end of the month. The new roofs will be going on, the gazebo's down there. I'm going to be getting with him to get the material picked up and the new cupolas that'll be going on. That'll be done. But also working on a big project down there, so it's not completed yet. But I brought it up in our last meeting. I can, even the public like to look. There's kind of preliminary and a letter going out to Bob Stryker to, that is going out to, he is what? Livingston County Soil and Water. We are asking them for, he said, go ahead and write it up and ask me. He says, all I can do is tell you no, or give you a little bit of it. We're asking for $5,000 to help with a pollinator project down at the park on the side hill. John, on the east side of the parking lot, 30 by, I think, 150. I went over this winter, pasted off, and went and worked with Maria, and she did a nice map to hand out, to send out. I've also reaching out there and looking, again, where to find money. New York State, obviously. We all pay taxes, so let's get some of it back. And I signed up for this newsletter that I'm getting now. It's called the Smart Growth Newsletter. John, I don't know if you or if anybody's seen that before. Well, you ought to see, I mean, one section, actually, well, half of the newsletter this month was dedicated on pollinators. And it gave me some more contacts to reach out to, so I will be doing that in the next couple days. Again, asking. I reached out to the Conservancy, haven't heard back from them at all yet. There's also a professor at one of the New York State colleges that kind of is involved with projects like this, so I'll be sending that letter and that map to him also to see if I can gain any ground there. Now that hopefully the winter weather is gone, be turning over the flower beds here and adding humus to them here in the next, hopefully, 3 weeks to 4 weeks. And hopefully by the end of April, maybe 1st of May, we'll see what the weather is looking at. We'll start on the flowers down there and everything for this year at the park. One thing we do have to do on our part, I need to make a motion. I'm making a motion tonight. The Pumpkin Committee gave the $5,000 check last month in our joint meeting, so half of that goes into our fund, half into the village. And so we okayed $1,000 to the Boy Scouts, to the Eagle Scout project for the bike racks. So we need to make a check out from the town for $500 to the Boy Scout troop. It's our part. So $1,000 total, $500 from the village, $500 from the town. Part of that also, that $5,000, to remind you, $300 went back to pay for the rest of the electrical upgrade that we did. There was one little project at the end after we paid for everything. And then there was $1,200, which again, we've got to logistically work that out too between the town and the village. And I'm sure it needs to be bought through us for tax reasons, so there's no tax on the wooden stuff. We have the other Eagle Scout project at the pond coming up down there, and we designated $1,200 out of that $5,000 for that. So again, $600 and $600. So that'll probably, next month we should look into that, and I'll get with the scout and see where we are on that project and what his time frame is.
Yeah, that works. I think you're just going to get with Jim to get a voucher so that he gets paid his bills.
Okay. All right. I guess do have a little bit more. I did see, I got some correspondence. I see Mr. May's proposal up there was approved, Jim, correct?
Yes.
So I've got that in the notes. So a few people don't know, if you remember, we had a gentleman, the old JP Motors, came to us wanted an overlay that we got, we got the wording right, I believe, now to go forward with that, and it has gone forward, and that
He's in front of the zoning board
now
Yeah.
with that. But this is the planning board approved it, not the zoning board yet.
Planning board moved it to the zoning
Zoning board.
You did the report or whatever.
Correct.
Yeah.
Referral.
Yeah, and the only other new thing I see in town other than that, the Positively Pot, or whatever, I'm trying to, the name's in here.
Chosen Pot.
Chosen Pot, excuse me.
Positively Pot.
Well, it might be for some people, whatever. He has asked to have events up there at his place, and I see the town is looking into that for food trucks and music.
Yep.
So, okay.
Right, the community connection meeting will be on the 14th at 10 a.m., not 10 p.m., as I initially requested.
I saw that.
We are doing it here at the town hall instead of the diner now.
Okay.
As far as the cemeteries, they're starting to thaw out, and Erica and myself have gotten permission to work on the one next to the Presbyterian church there.
You checked with the homeowners so he could get on the other side of the fence? Or?
Exactly.
Great.
Just checking with everybody to make sure that we can
Good.
do work on it. We're not allowed to touch any of the actual headstones, but we can clear whatever we can clear from it.
What, like around on the chain link fence?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. And then, as far as the Historical Society, we had a presentation from Livingston County that I broadcasted on my life that was about the 250 years of Livingston County as far as the history and everything. Outside of that, I think that's pretty much it.
I see Karen had written up a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah. She's phenomenal what she's doing.
She's a busy one.
Information out there. Yeah.
I will say, just for the group, I met with the Historic Preservation Commission, meeting with them to kind of talk about their role and what their recommendations and all of that are. I don't know if everyone here really knows what their roles or responsibilities or recommendations are, so I had suggested that maybe they could come to next month's town board meeting and just kind of discuss it. It's not really a regulatory agency as much as it is a recommendation, but I think there's maybe some process improvements that you can make between the code and planning and or, as we go forward, eventually work on a comprehensive plan and decide if that's something that, the community still wants, right? So they're open to all of that, but I think they're going to probably come next month to the meeting and just talk to us in the loop. Moving on to old business, Flower City Elevator. I know we got that maintenance agreement, but we still got to get the testing done, so I need to reach back out to them and get a price for just that, because then that's outside of the maintenance agreement because it's overdue anyway. So get that done. I did have on there Siemens waiting for drawings for improvements, but Eric reached out to me, honestly, about the next bullet item, but they did get those over to Siemens, the engineer's drawings that they need, so they can move forward, getting quotes with them. And it wasn't as much of a lift as they initially thought, so they were no charge to do that. So the next thing I know we talked about at the last board meeting, when we were all back, and you were in Florida and you were in San Antonio, and I was in Mexico, so we got the South Swing covered. But to schedule a public work session to really go over the Jenks Road transmission thing, and so that we can discuss it with both the Water Authority and with CPL, and then Eric reached out to me from CPL, they're available March 9th, 10th, 12th, 18th, and 19th. One of those.
What were those days ago?
9th, 10th, 12th, 18th, and 19th. If you like any of those better than another.
I'm just where you need to have enough time to get it out in the paper and inform people.
Well, you can do a special meeting and post it on your website and 3 places around town and call the paper.
Right.
And you don't need to,
You don't need it, there's no minimum.
if you can publish, you're supposed to, but we won't be able to publish any of those dates.
Right.
You know, like, yeah.
19th, I've already got a meeting here that night.
Yeah, the 19th is the only day I can't do it.
All right, so scratch that one out. So that would be
I cannot do the 10th. If you want me.
12th would work.
I can do it 12.
I can do it 12.
Do it 9.
You can't do the 9th?
Correct.
we'll get closer. We're going to whittle down eventually. They give us lots of options.
They just flip a coin.
I'm good for the 12.
I can do it 12.
Okay.
12,
Everybody else good?
here 6:30, 7.
I have a conflict on this one.
I guess we're down to the 18th then.
If you want me here, you know,
18th work?
That works for me too.
18th is fine for me.
All right, the 18th it is.
What time?
6:30, 7? 7? Just to give everybody time?
I think you got a public time to get here.
Yep, 7 p.m. Perfect.
Oh,
Get that.
I'll do the notice.
You can get that notice out and thank you.
we're talking PM.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I know it was asked, last month we talked about the salt shed grant. I did have that scoring review the next day. We scored 32 points out of 115.
115 it was, yep.
Yeah, and it takes a minimum of 40 in order to even be considered for a grant. You know, the biggest thing that stuck out to me, even though we took down the old building, because we had one, it's still considered a replacement, so we still scored
So now that
very,
we-
very low on
Now
that.
that we've got a pretty darn good one, we're probably never going to get a grant.
They would count that as a replacement too, because we asked, as far as we had a temporary thing, you know, that it's still a replacement.
For that,
So Sean, when I talked to you, you guys put it in a great spot, but you were kind of you'd like to go around that end of the building. Is there any more room to go dig out and go around what you got for a salt shed, or you're on the
I
property?
think we're on property line, once we get over that point.
And the other thing that unfortunately it's a good thing, but it works against us in the scoring, is there's no water there, right? We're not gonna contaminate a wetland, we're not gonna, you know, so we score, or at least identify wetland, a state registered one.
Is that Tom's property, just to the south? Does that come back into there?
Yeah, I mean, we ran like a tile line through there. But yeah, all that ditch runoff and everything right there.
I'm just telling you how I scored it.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it all runs straight to the creek from all around the pre-existing salt shed.
You're in a
and,
watershed there.
Yeah, yeah. I just,
Looking back, it's a good thing we took the bull by the horns and just did it, and come up with our own solution, instead of
Yeah, I
waiting.
think you did a great job, guys. I mean, it's in a good spot.
Yeah,
Should be fairly protected from the town shed.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it'd be nice if we had another 30 feet, you know, to the south there and just put up another one, and then take down that other god-awful one that we got. But-
Well, let's just send him a letter that we're taking his land by eminent domain. People along.
yeah, that'll probably work.
Yeah,
You can make that happen, can't you, Jim?
So,
it seems like I'm on that thing to do with that.
the other thing that they mentioned when we were going through the review is they've been going through this process for so many years that even the ones that they funded previously are up for needing to be redone. So they didn't even get through the whole list. And I don't know, I think unless they tweak something in the way they're gonna score it, maybe we just let let that go, right? But
Oh, yeah, I think that's.
We can look at it and see if we want to reapply for it again, but,
Because there's a cost, right? You know,
yeah, I mean, I'm sure we paid the guy from CPO to sit on the thing.
it's in the rearview mirror now, as far as I'm concerned, for the time being.
I mean, I do think it would be a good idea to, have, an idea of how much it might actually cost the town to
Right.
run
Well, the
that.
other thing that can improve our score is, if we do the seeker and we have the engineering done, and the closer we get to shovel ready, that also improves your scoring, but if you never get that money,
Spent the
you
money.
spent the money, right?
We did.
We did have all the engineering and things, didn't
We did dig in quite a bit. I went and researched. We got 2 different quotes on buildings.
Well, and even that, like the whole write-up that CPL did for the,
Yeah, that's just what they're saying. I'm just repeating what they're telling me.
yeah, well,
But the CPL guy didn't dispute that fact. There was some things that they pointed out were in our submission, as far as budget, that our overall budget was really good. So that scored well for us, but there was part of it that should have been broken out. And we could have scored, a couple of points higher, but,
It's pretty much the way all those grants, I mean, you gotta hit your ducks in a row.
yeah. So that's where we ended up on it. I think it's worth, one, finding out what is it, researching what it actually costs us to submit it, right? If it's $100, then we do it, right?
Yeah.
So before we completely throw it out, let's understand, because I don't know what it costs us to submit it, but we can certainly look that information up. And then we'll make a determination of that when we have all the facts. The ethics board policy we sent around, we talked about last month. I don't know if anybody had any suggestions or changes, or what you think all like that? Where did they go? Are you
I sent them, I gave them to them.
Oh.
See, that's where ethics play the part.
Yeah, right?
You're not supposed to steal stuff.
So,
You got it, Sally.
yeah. Long story of it all is, I had a few things that we could look at for suggestions. I don't care if we do any of them, we do none of them. The one thing that I think would be the most beneficial out of all of it is that I think there is, if we could add something in there for the, training, so that way people, the town board approved training, so we all are knowing what the thing is, and it's completed within 90 days of assuming a new office, or at least once every 2 years as they sit there. I think there's value in that, just understanding, what the ethics code is and what it isn't, right?
That's this day and age, and that way we're more transparent to the public of understanding that, we've got things we have to stay up on and follow certain codes.
Yep. And so there's other things that are pretty minor, like we have to do the annual disclosure requirement. I don't think our current code has a date of when it has to be done by, so I think if we're adding, we'll have to do it by April 30th of each year, is a good thing, at least having a date to it. And then, something about their independence and how they can be removed or not removed. But anyway, you can review it. We don't have to make any decisions on it tonight. It's just I wanted to share my thoughts, and we can move with that. We also talked about the vacancies last month that are on, the ethics board and the need to fill those. I did have someone reach out who was willing to take one of those Democratic seats on the board. He's here with us tonight. So for the board's consideration, I would like to nominate Bill Stramo. Yeah, I got it close enough. Bill reached out and was interested in doing one of those things. I know, during the campaign, I had lots of good conversations with Bill. I find him to be a pretty reasonable person. So that's up for board consideration. I would make a motion to nominate Bill to fill one of those vacancies.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we doing an okay job, Bill, or, I mean, get footnotes, take
I'm
notes?
keeping notes.
Everything's at the top of the paper.
Well, he's got Steve wrote really big, you know, that's what I,
Start with me, I don't care.
all right. So we can move on. I did have one other person reach out. I gotta circle back with them. They reached out a while ago, so I wanna circle back and see if they're still interested. So I'll keep that kind of under my hat for right now, in the event they're not, so. As far as, new business, Steve, I know you wanted to talk about a potential mower.
Yeah, again, we've been looking at needs of the highway and some shortcomings we've had over the years, some things that were let go. And I know we looked at a brand new one out of Pennsylvania. Ron got quotes, and we're looking, like 180, 185 on something brand new.
Yeah.
And which right now there's a lot more priorities in this town than to buy a brand new mowing
And
tractor.
a 185, when you were up there, right? And that was kind of a light frame tractor that should have really been on a heavy frame tractor.
Yeah.
So again, this is only an option, something to look at. And, this is a unit that's probably going to be coming available. Yeah, it's an older tractor, but to give you an idea, that's where the marketplace is. This is one that the CBE is probably going to be taking in trade from the town of Bath. And there's kind of the quick skinny on it right there. 2021, it had an engine rebuilt. It has a good name mower, Tiger. That's one of the premier mower lines out there in the industry, along with Alamo. It's in 1997, but it's going to be right around $15,000. And if this tractor comes in and is available, if we think we want to go look at it at some time, I can inform the board more at that point. But it just, from here you kind of jump up to anything else out there. I found that one that time around, what was it, 50-some thousand out at Randall's in Ohio.
Yeah.
That he had a John Deere, a little bit newer, but it was up in the mid-high 50s at least.
I do remember seeing a couple of them that you had given out that had what was like, the hours were way down. But yeah, it was all in that $50,000 to $70,000 range.
What kind of reach, do you know what the reach is?
16, it's right at 16, I believe that was told. It's got a 16-foot reach
Oh,
mower.
right there.
Yep, right on the front.
Yep, okay.
So,
As far as operation, the mower is in good shape.
obviously, they claim it's probably going to need some sheet metal work on the top. I mean, you're going to get what you pay for.
Exactly, yeah.
Quite honestly, but operational, the tractor is 100% operational, and we'd be fools to think that it wouldn't take another to get it into service shop. I mean, even if we thought of going this way, and again, right now, there's nothing that we're doing. But I would think we send it to a shop, the guy goes through it, you change all oils, you go through the U-joints and the cylinders and everything on the mower, new mower blades, of course, which will probably replace at least once during the year, but I would think another $4,000. So we'd be crazy not to think of to have to spend on this. So maybe it's in the cards, maybe it's not. I know I talked to Sean the other day. 1 year's mowing, folks, is not going to pay for this tractor. So that's why even a new one at that kind of money, we'd have to be mowing nonstop every day, 50 miles of road every day all summer long to even afford come close on a new one.
Yeah.
And I think you told me for what the county would pay us, the amount of road, it amounted to about, was it 2,000 some down, or maybe a little more than that?
I can't remember the exact number, but like each trip, yeah, I believe it was like
It was 1,800 a trip.
Yeah, like around the whole town.
Yes, the whole town, any of the county roads,
Yeah.
and that's
And we do it, like, try to get them 4 times a year.
Right, so 36, it's 72, you could pay for half of it almost in 1 year, let's say.
Might be worth a trip to bed. Look at it, run it.
Talk to them before anything, it's a close to be done deal. Just so everybody, again, being transparent, it is my company that I work for. It's not that I'm leaning towards that, it's just an option. And we've looked at Land Pro, we've looked at other organizations, and this came up available that we're working on. And I called John and told him I'm going to let everybody know where it's coming from if anything ever happens. But it's there as an option.
Hey, Steve.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Given the amount of money that we're looking to spend, why don't we just put a bid sheet together, send out a couple of other used equipment suppliers, just so that the town's got the butts covered?
Oh, no,
That it's not a sole source thing related to you,
that's right.
and that way, if it's out in the street and whether we get bids or not, right? If we get 0 bids, it's still, we get the efforts, right?
That is a great, you're right, that's how it should be done, correct, thank you. Yep.
Okay, Steve, I'm taking your name off the list now.
It's getting smaller print.
But, just like, you look at what we did for the town with the salt shed. A little over $9,000 instead of $200 and some thousand to the taxpayers. Now, is it going to be forever? No. But if that thing don't last us minimum of 10 years, I'd be surprised. And it should be more than that because the cement blocks aren't going anywhere.
Red black aren't going anywhere. Probably
Maybe 5 to 6,
5 to 6 years, we'll probably need a new tarp.
the cover.
Yeah.
That's going to be the cost of going forward with that building. Yeah.
Do
So.
you guys have this?
No, not quite.
Not
We're
yet,
very,
right.
so they are meeting, in fact, Thursday night to
Okay.
get this approved. It sounded like it was positive, and I guess I'll just report back to us, and if some of us want to go down, and then if we have more information for the April meeting, or May, or whatever, we'll take a look at it.
Right, and then we can send out an RFP at that time for,
But we have been short a unit like this for quite a few years now, because the tractor that was bought, in hindsight, is what they call, I believe, an interstator package. It's a rear mower and only a side mower,
Yep.
and they actually have a newer one of these, but they are buying an interstator package down there to Bath. And so what that means, folks, an interstator package only does right kind of behind the tractor and a few feet off the side. A boom mower tractor with a 16-foot reach now gets us over closer to the private properties, the farm fields and stuff that have been let go and not mowed for years now. And actually, did I understand, Mark, and you might have told me yourself, Livonia is actually coming to Lima and mowed the Lima County roads and gotten paid by the county to mow our roads because we didn't have the proper equipment. So that's why we're still kind of looking for it. Might go down and look, find this thing's a total piece of junk. So you know how salesmen are with stuff when they
might be worth reaching out to the superintendent Bath and see.
Yeah.
He'll tell you.
Yeah, why don't I get you that number?
I got his number.
You got his number?
Yeah.
Great.
I'll call him.
Yeah, they're all a club, you know. so.
Yeah, well, you've probably met with him and ethics and stuff, so. All right, that's all I have on that. Thank you.
And then the only other thing that came in, I did make, unfortunately, I didn't give Lori the right copy of the budget, but I did update, or the agenda, but I did update it on the website, is the contract for the resource deputy that sits at Lima Primary and Christian School. So that's up for renewal.
And that is supposed to drop again this year, correct?
Drop in,
Dollars from the schedule we had. I know it came down this past year. I thought it was going to drop again some.
well, I can tell you the dollars, and then you can tell me if it dropped. $16,959.64 would be the town's contribution, which I think is pretty much the same, right?
Sound like it's lower.
We're supposed to drop it.
Yeah. And that was in agreement with the Christian school, HFL, and the sheriff's department. Correct, Mark?
So each of their portions are $33,919.30.
Right, we know there are more, they have picked up more, but
So I guess, yeah, I mean,
We were supposed to be done with that in 2 years.
that's what I thought.
this should be the last year coming that we have to pay.
No, it
No,
was
this year and then next year.
This year and next year.
So that's there. I mean, I can talk to,
Lori can, I'm sorry,
Debbie Recktenwald. I mean, he left me his number. But I can, if we can dig up the old.
yeah,
what it was
could we
supposed
go
to be.
back into some old minutes within the last,
I
definitely?
don't have the
Check,
book with me.
check my emails, 'cause I think I saved an SRO folder, I think that agreement was in there.
Okay. Yeah.
I will say, I mean, obviously, you know, we all know the state of the world that we live in. I think, you know, every school should have a resource officer. That being said, I talked to the resource officer here in Lima. He's like, last year they had one kid at Lima Christian had a seizure and they had a bloody nose at the last. So, I mean, when we're looking at, you know, funding and things, you know, statistically, and I've been through active shooter trainings, 2 of them, and, you know, statistically, it's your middle school and your high schools that are the highest probability, right? And I know when we had that meeting a few years ago, you know, Gene was here from the school district and said because it's outside of Monroe County, you know, they couldn't put it into the budget. I don't know, I see, you know,
They finally did.
I see, you know, the millions of dollars they spend on athletic fields, but God forbid we pay for research on
You got a $66 million budget, I think they can take care of it.
But, I mean, again, all our kids deserve to be safe and taken care of. But like I said, I haven't talked to that resource officer, and he's like, I don't really do anything. You know,
My only thought, you know, just because we recently got a grant here at the court, if we could leverage to have that person, that same person, here the 2 Mondays that they have court,
I did mention
in
it
B stage.
to Ron.
I don't know if that's possible or
I
not.
did,
but-
and he's like, I don't know if the limbs, I don't know if the sheriff should do that. But that was just Ron's meeting, so we have not followed up on that.
Yeah,
That was just-
so I was just thinking that's something that we could ask.
For sure.
We get the magnetometer, there's gotta be somebody there to monitor it while they're in court. You know, from here to the primary school is not that far, here to the Christian school is not that far. If there was an emergency, I could leave, but I just thought I would throw it out there. You know, I don't think it's anything.
I think he really, you know, the biggest argument was, it's for the school, why isn't the school paying for it? Which in turn, the residents, you know, we have to pay for that, but put it against the school, not against the town and village.
Agree, but if we have a previous engagement to do it for 2 years, I think we owe it to honor that.
Yes, if we're on our way,
Yeah.
yes, I think that's the goal.
Yeah, correct. I know, I agree with that 100%. But, you know, at some point, it should be on them to.
Right.
Yeah. But, anyway, so that's where that is. I can talk to Dan. I'll definitely, we can find the information of what the rate was supposed to be, because I thought, in my mind, I thought it was a gradual decrease, but, I didn't know that 100%, so.
Just to see what.
The only other thing I've got, you guys should have a copy of this. I printed one off, and hopefully the line is there. I know we've talked about the ambulance funding and where that's going to show up. And I don't see if they got it on this report. Oh, yeah, they do, right there. If you go onto the B side, so page 7, and you go down to, what is it, 4540.4, there's a line there for ambulance contractual expense.
Yep.
That's where, budget-wise going forward, we'll be able to see these.
So it's
So
on
it's
its
not
own
gonna
line
be
now.
mixed in with,
Within the budget.
Great.
it's not gonna be mixed in with
With the library or anything else.
Well, it's fire district, I mean, that's where
Yeah.
it comes out of now.
Now, that should be right.
Right. The only other option would be to set up a separate district, well, even though they're not really, fire protection district, not a fire district, they're insurance, which are generally other. But, the only other thing we can do is go through that whole process, and I don't know that that's worth the money to do that. It's just as clear, to do it that way. I did have a conversation with the fire department, after our last joint meeting, and I know that they were counting on some additional funding that they didn't get. So I asked Jim to draft a resolution. I talked to both Chief Rose, I've talked to the mayor, or emailed back and forth with the mayor and Chief Gary about, I know we had 24,000 in the contingency line on the B budget. The idea would be to move that into this ambulance contract line, and the village would essentially take what we took out of the fire fund, right, to cover the ambulance contract, give that back to the fire. So that's the short, not fancy version of it, if you want to read the fancy version.
Yeah, so we have a proposed resolution to effectuate that transfer funds, so I'll read it for you. A resolution at a meeting of the town board of the Town of Lima, Livingston County, State of New York, held at the Lima Town Hall on the third day of March 2026, whereas the Town of Lima has previously allocated the sum of $24,000 as contingency funds and appropriations line B1990.4 of general fund appropriation, town outside village portion of the adopted 2026 budget. Whereas the Town of Lima Town Board deems it desirable to effect a transfer of such contingency funds from line B1990.4 of the 2026 budget to line B4540.4 ambulance services contractual expenses. Now therefore, upon motion of, it is resolved that the Lima Town Board does hereby transfer a sum of $24,000 from appropriations line B1990.4, general fund appropriations, town outside village portion adopted 2026 budget, the budget line B4540.4 ambulance service contractual expenses, also in the general fund appropriations, town outside the village portion of the town budget. So if you're interested in moving forward with that, you need a motion, a second.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
And we individual vote, or?
It doesn't require a roll call,
Okay,
but
roll call. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're curious.
Yeah, so it does, this is the final year, so it does terminate the contract on June 30th of 2026. So that's the existing contract that we're,
The contracts are annual contracts, but the amount
says the terms of this agreement shall commence September 1st, 2025, and terminate on June 30th, 2026.
yeah, it's a one-year contract.
Yeah.
1 year.
It's one school.
1 year at a time. So we have to approve it for this year.
Correct, and that's all this is another annual one.
Yeah.
But if the dollar value is supposed to go down, we need to do that. So if we can dig those minutes up. Because I agree, if we're gonna honor what we, as a town, committed to, then they can honor what they committed to too, and then, when it's done, it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's forced. I don't know about you guys, but my tax bill, when I look at it, I pay more in school than I do in town. So, they can absorb that.
John,
Yes? Go ahead, Brian.
somebody else is going to say something.
Go ahead, then I'll go.
On the ambulance, are you going to then have a separate contract with the ambulance? Because you're calling it ambulance contractual on the budget.
We do have a separate contract.
Well, right now, we have a contract that, goes under the fire district budget line. So it's kind of combined there right now. So you have to take the money out of the fire district then and put it into B. So that when you get the ambulance contract renewal, that all the money's in that one line.
Correct.
Okay, so the fire district is going to have a tax decrease next year. Because that's a fire district, it's separately taxed.
Yeah.
Right. So you're gonna be reducing the fire district tax and then increasing the town tax, what you're gonna do. And you gotta look at it, that's what you just did.
Well, that's not,
No,
this
it's not.
transfers the contingency,
I just asked,
For
is
this
there gonna be an ambulance contract? You said yes.
You already have it, there already is an ambulance.
I know, but the ambulance contract is in the fire, part of the fire district. So the money that we give to the ambulance right now is under the fire district.
well, that's what it's been done, but the contracts are separate.
We both,
And
we
that's fine,
give that
but
money to the village, and
If
where it goes from there,
If there's gonna
we
be a
don't have
separate
control.
ambulance line in the B side, then you're gonna take the money out of the fire district that we're currently paying the ambulance, correct?
I'm gonna give that money to the fire department. That's currently in the fire protection district.
So you're gonna have a new contract with the fire department coming up.
We have to
That's gonna
have a
have
contract with both.
I know, right? You're gonna have a new contract with the fire department, and that's gonna go to the fire district. Then you're gonna have a new contract with the ambulance, and that's only gonna go to the B side budget.
Correct.
Quick question, now that we went to that sheet.
Yep.
Speaking about the money that came in, shouldn't we be seeing 2,500 from the village come into our side of the Parks Reserve Fund? Right now, we agree on, the budget is $5,000 for the year that we put aside.
You're looking at the budget?
Right, well, when you just, on page 7,
Well, right, but then you got the accounts, right, and those are two different things.
okay.
Right.
I just want to
I
make sure.
emailed you guys all the accounts also. so
I
you
just
guys
want to make sure, I mean, the check was kind of made out to the village, but obviously it's half theirs and half ours.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure that gets done, or has been done. All right.
What else? I think that's it as far as new business for me, unless anyone else has.
The only thing, I tried to reach out today, again, I know it's, you see it on Positively Lima, and I've talked about it. I tried to reach out to Mr. Morocco today to see if there's any, I don't know, if, John, if you had any correspondence with them, if they have anything new going on down here.
No.
And nothing going on up to the old college yet either, as far as I kept up with that gentleman.
Sort of, I mean, I don't know if I'm letting any trade secrets out, but I know the GCC owner had reached out to Charlie on code, it might be in his report actually, about seeing what they would need to do to turn that into like a senior housing center or something. I've never seen it before, but that would take, I mean, there's some zoning changes that would have to happen and all that.
Very good.
But, yeah, I think he's certainly looking at what he can do with it, but he isn't looking to sell it, obviously.
No, he told me he was not ready to spend that right away.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, so he's certainly, but I guess in my mind, right, if you're looking at different things and now you're thinking about making them apartment buildings, you're looking at some way to generate revenue. It's sitting empty isn't helping.
No, it's not helping any of them.
Hopefully, hopefully he's able to find something that works that
Yeah.
doesn't require much of his own. And no, it's actually, so I changed the budget, so we do gotta have a public hearing next month, it's gonna be on the Spectrum contract that was 15 years long, so it's a franchise agreement, but I thought we could get it in on this meeting, but we weren't able to do that, so I amend the agenda, and then I sent it to get uploaded to the website, but I didn't send it to Lori.
I did see it on the website, that's why I was like, it was a picture with it.
Yeah, so that's on me. So now it's public comments, Tom, I don't think anybody has any. John?
Yeah, John Water from Ziegler Drive. I want to commend you, I have done it privately, for your vote against that county law that would have removed the requirement for advertising and bidding for sale of county property. Originally, John was only one of 5 that voted against it, and it passed. And then there was a lot of public outcry, and then it was unanimously voted to rescind the law recently. But I'm really proud that our supervisor did the right thing and didn't require public outcry to do the right thing. So, good job.
Well, I'm 1 for 1. You know?
That was a good one.
Take them off the list.
Just some things as the meeting went on. Steve, you've done a wonderful job down in the flowers at the park. That is a lot of work. Now, I have seen in the Penny Saver that I believe there's a new garden club here in Lima. So, as far as help in watering and things, because,
Well, we do this big project, we're gonna need help, maintenance help and stuff.
Okay.
So, I'm definitely gonna reach out to them.
Yeah, okay, and reach out to me too. Now, at the...
John, I need $5,000.
I thought you were watering.
Well, we'll see what we can do. Now, I was at the village board meeting their last one, and the mayor was out, and Brian, that was preceded by your joint meeting. Okay. And at that village meeting, Brian Smith, who was the deputy mayor who ran the meeting, announced that he was distributing to the trustees a draft master plan for the park. So I asked him, because I was just interested just to see what was in, like, could he put it on the website? And he kind of said, well, I don't know. And I checked just now before, and it didn't go on there. Now, I know there's a lot more work that's going to go into it, but it just seemed kind of secretive. And then he talked about that, the park commission and this group of a committee that had this specialized expertise in various things was going to finalize the plan. So I asked him, well, who's on the committee? He outright told me, I won't tell you. So...
Well, I will say this, John, the only thing I can say there is, we just talked about it, Steve wasn't at the last because he was out of town. And we come up with names of people that could possibly be of benefit on this committee.
Okay.
And we were going to reach out and talk to people, so I don't know why he said what he said.
Yeah, because that doesn't mean, it's wide open at this point in the
Yeah.
way.
Okay.
Because we haven't chose anybody for the committee.
He could have said that.
Right.
But the way it sounded was he's had the committee constituted, he wasn't going to tell me who was on. So maybe a misunderstanding there.
Myself and Erica from the village asked to be on the board, and we're told that it would be a conflict of interest for us to be on it. So we aren't going to be considered. Yes, for the park.
I don't know why they...
I
don't know what he said.
I don't know.
That shouldn't be, you're representing the people of Lima.
I don't know, but that's what Brian sent me in an email.
Well, Jim, usually a conflict requires a pecuniary interest, right?
I think
So-
Mention your code of ethics, yeah.
I mean, so how could board members have some kind of financial interest in the park? I mean, unless they own something. So, but anyway, I know, Ronnie and Steve, and I think the spirit of the both boards is to keep things open. It just, the PR of the way that works. I know, Brian and I aren't the best of friends, and maybe that was part of it, but, just as much participation and openness so that we get the best plan possible, because the real value of the plan will be in leveraging state money to do something down there. Although, if you could raise all the money you need for the community center, fantastic, but, if a state grant was needed, having a well-thought-out master plan that shows copious amounts of public participation so that the state knows that this is what the community really wants.
Correct. And the other thing to get the grants, because I checked into the BRICS program, they got $75 million on the table. But you have to have your plan in place, costs,
Building designs.
all that stuff has to go in. And downstate, the reason, so I've been told a lot of the money does seem to end up down there is because they have the money, even where they say they don't, they have community organizations that are all about getting this stuff put together to present and be ready.
And then the only last thing would be, I don't know if you're thinking about like running it by the planning board, but for instance, Andy Britton, he's on the board, he's a landscape architect. So, I mean, that's his business is doing park designs and stuff. So I just spread the net out there of, or even advertising.
He was one of the guys, just so you know.
Was he?
Andy Hayes, you know Andy Hayes? He's an arborist. He was another one. I can't remember.
Yeah.
When I'm looking back.
Gee, Ryan, I've got more names from you. I think that's brilliant.
Because, again, when Steve and I ran the whole thing that we were all about, you know, you got, the public's got to know, the public's got to vote on stuff that's going to affect the public, be it monetarily or whatever.
Yeah. So, but I know in the end we'll have a really good plan, so.
That's why Court
Well,
House here.
1 second, Bill, I skipped abstracts, I gotta circle back, sorry, guys. I guess we gotta pay the bills, right?
Yeah.
So, we have abstracts, you guys have had them. Number 3, out of the general fund, is a range of 74 to 82, $24,470.11. Water District 5 had some engineering for $12,384. And the highway department range is 25 to 33 for $24,004.26. So we get a motion to approve. A motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. Sorry about that. Bill?
You really kind of hurt my feelings in a way when you said Bill was going to be on the ethics committee. I thought you were talking about me. Well, you'd be in a real thrill.
You have to switch your party affiliation.
Oh, my God, yeah.
That's all I'm gonna have tonight.
Still public comment?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Mark Kachowski, on Poplar Hill Road. Back in January, I broached this idea about getting rid of the Dorn Road pump station as part of Water Treatment 5. And there was some immediate comments that made me concerned that people don't really know what this is exactly. And since we haven't had Eric or Jason around for that last 2 or 3 or 4 meetings, I thought it'd be worthwhile to just share some information with you guys. And it comes from the support of people within the water district already. And it'll help you think about what you're going to talk about at your March 19th meeting.
18.
To get water to Dorn and Pond Roads, an alternate transmission main would interconnect the proposed dead ends in James and Chase Road with a transmission main. To maintain our budget within the original limits, we would delete the proposed transmission main in 5 and 20 between Clay and York Streets up to Dorn Road and eliminate the pump station. And the pump station also has a backup generator, so that would be awesome. Please note that a transmission main only conveys water from one point to another. Properties adjacent to a transmission main neither are nor would be included within the district boundaries. No additions or deletions to the water district are needed, desired, or expected. Anyone adjacent to a transmission main can still request connection to the main from the Livingston County Water and Sewer Authority. Some of the reasons why this is a good idea. The cost of maintaining a pump station is eliminated. The cost of electricity to run the pumps 24 hours a day, every day, is eliminated. And realize that to maintain pressure, those pumps have to be running 24/7, 365, without fail. A backup diesel generator near an environmental habitat would be eliminated. Without pumps that can fail, the reliability of the water supply will be improved. We can maintain higher pressures in the water system without the pump station. No properties will be added or deleted from the water district. And the annual projected debt service charge is the same.
Right.
So that's already been established, it doesn't change at all. Some additional benefits, risk is eliminated with a pump station. If pumps fail, water on Dorn and Town Road would stop flowing. No other water mains in the water district need to change. So everyone in the water district will have access to water just as they currently do.
for Will. Dead-end lanes on Jenks and Chase Road will be eliminated, which is a maintenance problem that's taken care of. There will be clear lines of accountability for water purchased by the village. In other words, no pass-through. So the way it's set up now at the pump station, water goes in one side of the village and out the other side. So you got to do some math there to figure out how much water is being sent back into the water district. And you guys don't have a lot of history on this, but that has been a major problem with water district two for years. Okay, you fight with the village all the time about who owes what. We're doing leak surveys on the train on the main on 15A. And this way, it makes a clear demarcation. If they sold to the village, they sold to the village. It's their water, done. Everything on the other side will still be part of water district 5. So extra metering involved on the east side of the village is eliminated. The project, from what I can tell, is cost neutral. I think that Eric and Jason will have to verify that, but
It's within, I think, $10,000 from what they showed me, so pretty much, yeah.
and the town board can make this decision with no negative effects on the water district. USDA has already expressed no concerns about this change, so our funding remains secure. And the nice thing about this is we would not have to negotiate an easement with the property owner, which isn't in the budget right now, and that's going to cost us some money. We don't know how. Keep in mind that the boundaries in the properties already included within the water district will not change. Adjacent farm properties along Jenks and Chase are either forever agricultural property or are within agricultural districts, so they will not be affected. Everyone in the water district will be served either way, and Durham, Pond roads will have higher reliability and better water pressure. All agreements made with the Village of Lima, this is very important, all the agreements made with the Village of Lima and Livingston County Water Authority remain as is. Nothing changes. The alternative transmission main does not affect anything in the Dalton Road or Corby York roads north of the village. So those are not even in the picture. That all stays the same. There are people that, like I said, that are in the water district that are very supportive of this. So I would hope we use this information to think about prior, because generally at a public workshop, we're not allowed to say anything. Okay, unless you're going to let us. But so
I will say absolutely no, but that's not the intent, right? I mean, the intent is for the board to be able to ask their questions and for people to witness it, right?
Okay.
So that is the intent of the public works for this forum, not to be able to prevent.
Engineers will be at that.
Yes, yeah.
They need to be there, because I can't be the only engineer that's in favor of the engineering part of this.
Right.
So, yeah, that's all I have, so.
Yeah.
So, if I can add to that, another important thing is the elimination of this pump station and the maintenance is a stable water rate for everyone, not only Water District 5. So the electric that powers the pumps, we all absorb it. You know, Water District 2, Livonia, the village, the maintenance for that pump is not on Water District 5 long term. It's in your water rates. So if we get rid of, if it's financially feasible, let's just say, we have to get a bid first to see if it's a wash. But the stability of the water rates 15 years down the road is more stable because you're not planning for a failure, right? You're not building that in. So it helps everyone in Livingston County. So keep that in mind. So when we think about the village, and it's not just Water District 5 now, or you hear Dorn, it's the big picture. And if it's a wash, if they bid it out, I think that's our next step. We need to get a bid to see if it is a wash.
There's got to be environmental.
Yeah, got to be your seekers and.
We have to do the environmental studies and all that, and agree to do that, and then put it. I think long term from my meeting with him would be to put it as a bid alternate when we send it out.
Yep.
But we don't want to. What we don't want to do, in my opinion, if we go down this path, right? What we don't want to do is not have any of that environmental review done, and then put it out as a bid alternate, and then decide we're going to go there, and then delay the project longer because we got to go back and do that. So, that's the biggest thing that we have to make a determination on right now, is do we want to go through that environmental, and that's why I want to have, the work session that we just focus on that, because, honestly, if the board doesn't want to do it, then there's no sense in spending the money on the environmental either, right? Which is also being a good steward of the money that's in Water District 5. My personal opinion, if I can speak real candidly on it, is I think there are certainly long-term benefits. I understand that, right? I would be a lot more, I don't think it took 2 engineers and a guy that builds water districts to actually drive out there to realize water runs downhill, right? I think there was some, potentially trying to avoid no votes, right? And that makes sense, right? I get it from the formation of the district, but I think I want to hear, to me, running that transmission down Jenks and is no more than putting a power line in the right. Do I think there was some, maybe, like I said, some decisions made to do it, to put it out to vote this way based on, we thought how people were going to vote? Sure, I do believe that happened. Do I think that's a long-term thing to think of the other, 225 units, that didn't really have a control on how that decision was made? Probably not. But that's where we start, right?
There was a bad control, we put it to vote, and there was a substantial, it was 2-1, and what's a really positive thing is the percentage of people that showed up, right? It's not like you got a small snippet.
Oh, no, I think pretty much everyone voted.
So, right, everyone voted, and the support, right?
Yep.
Was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, I would agree.
And
But it was on a different plan.
Well, I just keep in mind, John, that I don't think that the hydraulic engineering of this project was ever discussed with Town ever. Okay, we saw maps, we saw lines on paper, but the actual engineering behind the system was never discussed. So now as we're finishing up the plans and it's becoming more evident what's going on from an engineering standpoint, the question is like, well, why not this other way and get rid of the pump station? So I think it's just maturing the process. So it's not like I don't think anybody tried to deceive anybody. And frankly, if there was a transmission main in Jenks for the water district vote, none of the properties adjacent to it would have been part of the water district. Because none of the properties on 520 are part of the water district.
Right.
Same thing.
Mark, just because I'm not up on it, I'm just thinking, if you take a pump station away, what wasn't the pump station creating pressure? And now,
But the battery you wouldn't.
What happens, John, is that water comes from South Lima, up Poplar Hill. Okay, it's going to be running off the tank in Livonia.
They've already pumped it up to an elevation.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
And we're downhill.
Right, I
Pressure
understand.
stays high. It comes around to 520 from Village.
Right.
And then there's going to be a pressure reducing valve because the Village can't take the pressure.
Yeah.
Once the pressure drops in the Village, it comes out the other side at the low pressure.
Oh, that's where the pump station is needed.
So then you got to boost the pressure back up again to set it down door and pond.
Oh, so the pump stations would be on 5 and 20 east of the village?
The current location's on south of 520 on door.
Oh, okay.
So that corner there.
So you're saying take that away and then no transmission line east of the village?
Correct.
East of York.
East of York.
You got to remember, because there is still going to be,
yeah.
there's going to be a new line going across all the business districts.
Which water district is paying for it, which benefits basically the users in the village.
Okay, understood.
But certainly there are long-term benefits to not having a pump station. Talking to Jason, just on the maintenance side, right? I think you said they got to rebuild those pumps every 5 years, and this and maybe every 10, something like that, I think. So there's a lot to unpack there.
It also opens up for more people to join the water district, correct?
They don't get to join the water district.
But they can tap it.
District users.
But they can tap into that transmission line, correct? Which that would then entail bring down every person's payment in the.
No.
It would add to the pool, correct?
They would be out-of-district users because you can't amend the water district without going back to vote. You can't amend the water. They would be out-of-district users. What could happen, and it would be up to the town board to figure out, there could be a premium for those residents to pay to put toward water district 5, right?
Yep.
So they get a benefit of transmission main and fire hydrants. If they wanted to hook up, But I think there's a new house going in on maybe 15A and Chase Road there on the corner, maybe.
And there's a new one already being built
Yeah,
there.
so if they wanted to hook up, they would be an out-of-district user, still, but they could pay a premium, either a premium hookup charge that would be credited to the Water District 5's principal, which then would lower everybody's rate for.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they won't be, right now, they can't be in the district.
Yeah, they're
But I
not
think they would also
technically
be
part.
charged- They would also be charged at EDU. They would also be charged at EDU, so going forward, they would be paying the same EDU that everybody else in the district is paying.
Yeah. But adding people, like, what I'm saying is like when you add more people to that, it brings the pool down for everybody
But
as
that's not
well.
what happens.
Yeah.
Unless they
Yeah.
pay the EDU, it doesn't help anybody.
Yeah.
And they're completely voluntary.
Yeah, they're all voluntary, yeah.
So for the time being, it would stay at the 665 rate that we have right now.
Anything else?
There's one other thing, and keep in mind too, that we're hoping that the bids come in reasonably close to the engineered budget, because there's a significant contingency there, which I know, John, you're saying contingencies evaporate really quickly in bidding environments, but if there's still money there.
That's true.
If there's anything left, okay, we want to spend it all. So be prepared, because there's some other things that Eric and Jason feel that we can do to benefit the water district in its entirety, that we might want to spend the money on, because if you don't spend that money, the USDA takes it down. Okay? We're committed to the first $4,300,000, because that's what the bond resolution is for. But the other, whatever it is, 11 million, okay, which is, some of it's going towards the water infrastructure. But anything left over, if we don't spend it, we give it back. We don't want to do that. So, be prepared. It won't reduce the water.
That's what I was saying, right?
That's will be the.
It's whether you want to give the money back to the government or you don't.
Yeah.
That's really all it boils down to.
Yeah, the free one.
Anything else?
I have one question. Ryan, have you reached out to Marvin Bakery to see if he knows anybody that does the landscaping for the carpet project?
No, I haven't. I
I
was
wonder
thinking of
if he knows somebody, because what he does.
Right. Yeah, Marvin would be a good one. I was gonna reach out to Andy Hayes, because he was an arborist, and I know there's some trees there in the park that we've talked about, east of the pavilion. They're kind of ugly looking, not really doing much, maybe taking them down. And I know we've talked about the trail that goes all the way around, widening it, so that it'd be more ADA compliant, and just people can walk side by side easier.
And get maybe some drain tile on that east side of the trail too, because there's a catch basin there, where you can just get the water to it. Because that between the pavilion and like the baseball fields there, it goes underwater every time you get rain.
It's a little wet on the south end too.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about the fence on the O'Brien property, taking it down, cleaning up that little patch of dead pines,
Yeah.
and making maybe an ingress there for emergency vehicles during the 4th of July or the Pumpkin Festival, just because the north end is always so plugged up.
Anything? Motion to adjourn? Sure.
I'll make it quick. So, two things have entered my mind. As far as the school board there in High Falls, it's all High Falls and residents. I wish somebody from Lima would run and get on there. I mean, Lima is kind of an afterthought when it comes to the school in a number of different ways. I wish somebody, I know it'd be a tough one to do, people got a lot going on, and time becomes a big factor. I wish somebody would do it. And the other thing is I drive down Lima, there's certain places that I've talked to Charlie about to go out and talk to them to see if they can't get things cleaned up so that it looks better coming into Lima. The house that burned down up there just past out JP Motors. And I'm not picking, but there's some trailers up there. and cleaning stuff up. I understand that sometimes money is an issue. Doesn't have to have a fresh coat of paint or anything like that, but just picked up. So Lino looks better. Everywhere you come in, there's places that don't look well and well kept, and it just is kind of a black eye on Lima. So I wish people would just take a little more pride in their at their place, get it picked up. And again, we've always got scouts and Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts coming looking for projects. Maybe there's an older person that just cannot get out and get their lawns mowed and that kind of thing. Take it, I don't know if there's a badge for that. It was never really much of a Boy Scout, but
There's community badge.
yeah, get out
Every
and
nation, world.
mow the lawn for the older person and kind of help them get their yard picked up. And let's,
Hey, Ronnie,
yeah.
just go down Dalton Road before you get to Heath Markham. There's a place that's junk all over the place.
Well, there's a
It's
few.
unbelievable how
There's
bad
a
it
few
is.
of them. I ain't gonna point them out to give anybody, kind of a black eye.
And I go by there, I wonder, why don't can the code enforcement guy do anything about it?
Well, I talked to Charlie about it, and I know he's got a tough job. If you gotta go knock on somebody's door and say, hey, you gotta clean your place up or we're gonna fine you, I mean, you might get shot, I guess, but.
The reality is, we could take them to court, right, and then they could still do nothing. And then
Right.
We've wasted money on.
We talked about
right?
that.
Like, that's really it, right?
Before the new
It's
guys
just-
took it over.
It's just one of those things, let's have some pride. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. Turn off 5 and 20 and 64, make the quick right and go down through the town of East Bloomfield. Those houses are all big, beautiful houses, well kept. They're no different than we are right here. So take pride in your property, clean it up, make life work better.
You know, when Supervisor Clark was in, he was gonna talk to Superior Walls about controlling their styrofoam. I don't know if.
I've sent Charlie down there.
Okay.
That's another thing. Before Kistner built it, we worked the property there. I was picking up foam all the time, which I know that's what you're doing.
I know, I brush hog that whole property and there's certain everywhere.
Yeah, so it doesn't take much to pick up. It really don't. And once it's picked up, it's just maintenance, you know?
Okay.
I'll get off my soapbox.
I pick up the trash on my street from my house to 5 and 20 all year long. I fill
I got
40-gallon garbage bags, contractor grade. I fill 4 of those a year, easily.
We pick up
You can have a
trash.
shop, they keep throwing it out the
Yeah,
window.
we keep picking up trash, blowing across fields. I've talked to neighbors about watching it. When Shanks was picking up the garbage, I told him he could not transfer on the road because the winds are high, and when you transfer, it's in the wind. And Shanks did. They quit doing it. So I do applaud them for that. But people, you can't, it's gotta be in the tote, and it's in a windy night, you don't take your trash to the road with that night, because it's just gonna blow over and go. I'm gonna shut up.
Right.
All I heard was if Mark's volunteering to pick up any trash.
Everybody can.
Sounds like they are.
You guys-
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second. All those in favor?
All right.